Today, your primetime destination, news, newsmakers, talking points. And tonight, this Thursday night, we'll bring you all the big stories on the news today. On the show, the breakdown in the government-opposition ties. Is Parliament now hostage to a political face-off? Remember, that's going to be the big talking point. Also, we'll tell you why are cheetahs dying. Time to review that project. All that and more. But first, the 9 headlines at 9. Opposition now raises its voice over the Parliament boycott call. 20 parties to skip it. 25 other parties, including BSP, Akali Dal and Telugu Desam, will attend the inauguration of the new Parliament. Meanwhile, politics breaks out over a royal symbol. The BJP hits out of the Congress for labelling it a walking stick. Karnataka Minister Priyank Kharge vows to ban any organization disrupting peace, including the RSS. The BJP hits back and asks, is Kharge the super chief minister now? 2 more cheetah cubs die in Kuno National Park over alleged severe dehydration. 1 cub is under observation. Total 6 cheetahs now dead in just 2 months. Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal secures the support from NCP Supremo Sharad Pawar in the battle against the centre's recent Delhi ordinance. Pawar urges non-BJP parties to unite. After Amul versus Nandini in Karnataka, it is Amul versus Aveen now in Tamil Nadu. Chief Minister Stalin seeks Home Minister's intervention, says let cooperatives thrive in states. Tensions continue to simmer in strife-torn Manipur after fresh violence erupts. Home Minister Amit Shah calls for peaceful dialogue, set to visit Manipur soon. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis announces presidential bid for 2024, enters the race as a direct challenger to former President Donald Trump's rerun bid. And the queen of rock and roll, Tina Turner, breathes her last at 83 after a battle with prolonged illness. But our top story tonight, the inauguration of the new Parliament building this weekend has triggered a huge debate across the political class, claiming that Prime Minister Modi inaugurating the new Parliament building is an insult to President Murmu. 20 major opposition parties have decided to skip the event. Meanwhile, hitting back, the BJP has accused the opposition of doing negative politics. Some opposition parties like the Bahujan Samaj Party and the TDP have decided to participate in the process. Either way, the fact is Indian politics is split wide open between the Modi government and the Congress-led opposition. What is the solution? It's our top story tonight.
The Indian Parliament, often described as the temple of democracy, gets a new address on Sunday. But the historic occasion will be marked by a sharp divide in the Indian political system, with more than 30% of MPs who represent crores of Indian citizens skipping the ceremony. At least 20 opposition parties are boycotting the event, where Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be inaugurating a new modern building that can accommodate over 1,200 MPs. They are insisting the Parliament building be opened by the first citizen of the country, the head of the state, President Draupadi Murmu.
नया संसद भवन का उद्घाटन ये कोई विवाद वाला विषय नहीं होना चाहिए। देश की डेमोक्रेसी का टेम्पल है, मंदिर है। हमारी भूमिका है राष्ट्रपति को बुलाना चाहिए।
राष्ट्रपति का संवैधानिक परंपराओं का जो अपमान हुआ है वो सबके सामने है। इतिहास में दर्ज हुआ है कि मोदी जी के हाथों में 3 सालों में 2 बार राष्ट्रपति के पद का, उपराष्ट्रपति के पद का लगातार अपमान हुआ है।
The Narendra Modi government is angry. It is pointing to past precedents when prime ministers and chief ministers have inaugurated assemblies and parliament facilities.
मैं कांग्रेस पार्टी को पूछना चाहता हूं, छत्तीसगढ़ में विधानसभा का भूमि पूजन श्रीमती सोनिया गांधी, श्री राहुल गांधी और वहां के मुख्यमंत्री ने किया। उस वक्त राज्यपाल महोदया कहां थी? मैं आज कांग्रेस के मित्रों को पूछना चाहता हूं, जब आप करते हो तब ये सब कुछ ठीक होता है, और जब भारतीय जनता पार्टी करती है, मोदी जी करते हैं, आपकी वक्र दृष्टि इसका बहिष्कार करती है।
The government has rejected charges of insulting the president.
भारतीय समुदाय का जो कार्यक्रम था, वहां ऑस्ट्रेलिया के प्रधानमंत्री का आना गौरव की बात थी, लेकिन इतना ही नहीं, उस समारोह में पूर्व प्रधानमंत्री भी थे। उस समारोह में पूरी अपोजिशन पार्टी के मेंबर्स से, रूलिंग पार्टी के मेंबर्स से, चाहे पक्ष सत्ता का हो चाहे पक्ष विपक्ष का हो, सबके सब मिलजुल करके भारतीय समुदाय के इस कार्यक्रम में उतने ही उमंग और उत्साह के साथ शरीक हुए थे।
Prime Minister Modi, who returned from a 3-day nation tour on Thursday, took a jibe at the Indian opposition.
Very same people today also chose someone to contest against her. And today suddenly they become morally motivated, so encouraged to say, no, you're disrespecting her. It's one thing to run a campaign as a candidate.
The government says the opening of new Parliament House will see a reenactment of the scenes when Nehru took the reins of the country from the British by accepting a scepter or sengol, as it is called in Tamil Nadu. The relic that was placed in a museum in Allahabad has been brought to Delhi. As history is made on Sunday, the absence of a large section of MPs will be a reminder of how sharp the divide in Parliament is. A fact that is reflected in the August housing functioning. The 17th Lok Sabha will be the shortest in the terms of sitting since India attained independence. Perhaps our leaders will chew on that a bit. Bureau Report, India Today.
Let me go to my first guest today, Derek O'Brien, the TMC leader in the Rajya Sabha. The TMC was the first party to announce they will boycott the new building inauguration of Parliament. Derek O'Brien joining me. Mr. O'Brien, on what grounds do you justify your decision? At the end of the day, it is the prerogative of the government surely to decide who inaugurates a Parliament building. Isn't it possible for you to rise above divisions and work with the government?
Of course, everybody in the opposition always wants to rise above divisions and work with the government. But I'm glad this story at last has hit the 9 o'clock news. This is not just about who will inaugurate Parliament or who will not inaugurate Parliament. It's a much more, that's an issue, but it's a much bigger issue. In the last 9 years, the BJP have mocked Parliament, they've decimated Parliament. I can give you 20 examples, Mr. Sardesai, but I will restrict myself to 5 or 6 examples. All factual. Number one, who is mocking Parliament? The Prime Minister wants to inaugurate Parliament. How many questions has the Prime Minister of India answered on the floor of Parliament in the last so many years? 0. Number two, a government with a comfortable majority. Why haven't they appointed a deputy speaker in the Lok Sabha? Number 3, why are only 1 out of 10 bills scrutinized before being passed? Earlier number was 6 or 7 out of 10 bills were scrutinized. That's 3. Number 4, originally about 2 out of every 10 bills passed were ordinances. Why is that number, ordinances, emergency legislation, why is the number up from 2 to 4 out of 10 bills? Next one, what is the average time of a bill being passed in Parliament in the last 9 years under Mr. Modi, who now wants to inaugurate Parliament? 11 minutes a bill. This doesn't even happen in a T20 match. Where has the railway budget been for the last 7 years? And finally, for the farm bills and other bills where members from different opposition parties asked for a division. A division means not a voice vote, you have to have a vote. This government did not allow a division. These are only 6 or 7. I can carry on for 30 minutes, but that's the bigger point.
Mr. O'Brien, Mr. O'Brien, what you're suggesting is that that Parliament has become dysfunctional and you're blaming Prime Minister Modi's government for it. My problem is, tali do haath se bachti hai. Let's accept, and for argument's sake, what you're saying, that this government has singularly failed to fulfill its responsibility in the treasury benches. Has the opposition been cooperative? Have you tried to work with the government? You also, Derek O'Brien, you meaning the opposition also, seems intent in some way of cornering the government when it comes to disruptions in Parliament. So we've got a terrible situation at the moment where Parliament is becoming dysfunctional.
Yes, it is dysfunctional. Has anybody on national television told the young people of India that the last 9 sessions of Parliament, have been cut short before the date? Who did it? The government. Has anybody told the young people of India the average time for a Parliament working session was 125 days every year? Now it's down to 60 days of the year. I can write a book about how the BJP have made it dysfunctional, but I'm not surprised. They've made the BJP themselves dysfunctional. And I think there's a much bigger point here. The bigger point is that now Parliament is now come onto primetime television at 9 o'clock because we couldn't get this done earlier because even Sangsad TV is being censored, mics have been muted, and let me tell you, MPs have to find new ways to get because we are muted in Parliament. And you are a journalist. India Today, the Prime Minister didn't answer any questions in Parliament. Okay, he didn't even answer any questions to India Today because you didn't ask him. But on a more serious note, what about the media? Why is the media now censored to go into Parliament? The Press Club has issued a statement today. Why do you want to keep the media out? This is not the way. And this thing about 25 parties.
No, so you're saying
it's one party.
So I want to
party.
Mr. O'Brien, you're saying that the boycott of Parliament by the opposition of the inauguration ceremony, is it only about the fact that Mr. Modi is the one doing it and not President Draupadi Murmu? Or is it because you believe that the Prime Minister simply has not done enough to ensure that Parliament is functioning? Let's get that very clear. At the moment, you seem to be standing on an issue of propriety, saying the Prime Minister of the country is not entitled to inaugurate the building.
Please. Of course, he's not entitled. It's not one issue. One is the Article 79 of the Constitution. Who is Parliament made up of? It is, please, Mr. Sardesai, it is wrong to suggest it is only one issue. Yes, that is an issue. But what has been happening, I've been there. Sometimes you feel like breaking down and crying in Parliament because I see it happening on my left, on my right. It's happening.
No, it happens in the West Bengal Assembly as well. Mr. O'Brien, the problem is it starts in Parliament across this country. There is a breakdown in Parliament and assemblies.
What are you talking about? Mr. Sardesai, please understand. I'll give you a very interesting insight. You talk about West Bengal Assembly or Tamil Nadu Assembly. Do you know what is happening there with bills and governors? The Raj Bhavans have been converted into RSS shakhas. They don't pass the bills. This ordinance about Delhi. So please understand there are opposition parties. The number is not important. 5, 10, BJP, NDA. Suddenly the NDA has issued a statement. What NDA? Where is the NDA? Where is the NDA? That's a BJP statement. And you bullied, in the name of double engine, you bullied the northeastern states and taken their one MP and chief ministers, throttled them and said, sign now. This is the reality Parliament is, but I'm still very hopeful. I'm very hopeful.
Mr. O'Brien, in conclusion, the fact is BSP, Biju Janata Dal, the TDP, the YSRCP, there are several opposition parties that will also attend. So are we to understand even within the opposition there are two camps, one which are close to the government and one which are anti-Modi?
Mr. Sardesai, I'm actually surprised how you put the two pieces of fake news into your question. Biju Janata Dal. Please look in Parliament at the Biju Janata Dal and please look in Parliament, only Parliament, at the YSR party. Okay, they've got CBI and all that. These two parties have consistently supported the Modi government on the floor of Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. So what, they're already in the BJP camp in Parliament. Now you're saying two of them are supporting. No, it is wrong. And Mr. Naveen Patnaik and Mr. Jagan Reddy, both, they have to put up their hands once and for all when this Delhi ordinance comes to the Rajya Sabha. As Mamata Banerjee said, we can defeat the BJP in 2023. And I'll tell you how it's done. Very simple. If Biju Janata Dal's Mr. Naveen Patnaik and if Mr. Jagan Reddy, YSR, if they want to fight for federalism, I urge them to vote for that in old parliament, new parliament, building doesn't matter, to vote for that for federalism, and the BJP can be defeated in 2023 because the BJP have mocked parliament. It's really sad. We are not angry. We are sad that this is what has happened to parliament.
Okay, let's leave it there. You're sad, you're saying more than you're angry. You're sad, you're saying at the state of parliament today. You've given us some reasons why you believe that the opposition believes parliament has become dysfunctional in this country. Derek O'Brien joining me there at the top of the show. Appreciate your joining us. Let's turn from there to the big questions. Total breakdown now in relations between Mr. Modi, the Modi government and the opposition. Should the Prime Minister be initiating a dialogue with the opposition? Is the opposition justified in boycotting a parliament building inauguration by the Prime Minister? Are institutions now hostage to a bitter government versus opposition fight? Joining me now is Ajay Alok, BJP spokesperson, Rohan Gupta is the Congress spokesperson, and Rahul Srivastav is our National Affairs editor. Ajay Alok, the question which is directly to you, has this government decided to hell with the opposition? We will do our own thing. If they don't want to join the inauguration, Mr. Modi will do it on his own with whoever wants to support him. Is that the attitude, rather than picking up the phone, speaking to these leaders and saying, look, this is a historic occasion, a new parliament building, let's do it together?
Well, Rajdeep, you can't change the mindset, the colonial mindset which is already there in their mind. The first parliament building, it was inaugurated in 1927 by then King George VI. And Motilal Nehru was a witness to that. Now today, we being the largest democracy on this earth, and a new parliament building has come up almost after 96 years. And it's a matter of pride for every Indian, but for not for few political parties. I won't say all opposition, but for few political parties, because they think that it is their birthright. See, it has a very peculiar thing. The Sengol, which was handed over by the British Empire to Jawaharlal Nehru, was a symbol of transition of power, which was being practiced by the Indians still long since Chola, then Gupta dynasty, then Vijayasagar dynasty, then it went to Mughals, then it came to East India Company, and then to Mr. Nehru. But what Mr. Nehru chose, he chose that symbol to be put into Allahabad in Nehru Bagh Bhavan as a golden stick of Nehru. It was never considered as change of transition of power, what we are getting, because that was the colonial mindset, that was the familial mindset that power is not going to get out of our hands. And that's why today, when new parliament building, which is a symbol of democracy, the largest democracy on this earth, they are opposing it because they cannot digest that in this largest democracy, the person who is chosen to become the prime minister not once but twice by the people of this country, how can he inaugurate? Because this sense of propriety belongs to one family. Why can the
prime minister, the issues of the Sengol frankly is a distraction. The core issue is what stops the prime minister from picking up the phone, speaking to these opposition leaders and saying, let's work together. You don't even have all party meetings anymore. We cannot have a one leader, one party narrative. India is a multi-party democracy. Do you agree with that or not?
Absolutely. There's no doubt about it. That's why we contest the election. Had there been one party, what was the need for the election then? What was the need for election? We are not China.
So why doesn't the prime minister pick up the phone and speak to a Mamata Banerjee, speak to a Stalin, speak to a Sonia Gandhi? Is that not possible?
Why do you think the other parties who are coming, are they not invited? And the parties who have decided to oppose, are they not invited? Isn't their duty towards the democracy that they should come and join this function and festival of a new parliament in which they are going to sit in the future and debate with the government? And tomorrow, if they are in the power, they are going to run the government. That means it is utter frustration and depression.
Ajay Alok, let me persist for a moment with you. The opposite, these parties which are boycotting are saying it's the president who should be inaugurating it, not the prime minister. It's the president who's the head of the state, not Mr. Modi. Mr. Modi is the leader of the largest party in the Lok Sabha. He's not the head of state.
It's such a convenient statement according to their needs. When elections are being fought on Mr. Modi, then this opposition says that we are not a presidential form of government. Here we elect the parliament MPs and the MP elect the leaders. We are not a presidential form of government that you should fight the election in the name of Modi. And today, when in the largest democracy and the largest party leader and the prime minister of this country is inaugurating, then they come that elected head should inaugurate. Who are they to decide? When they can go, when Sonia Gandhi, Rahul Gandhi, none of the elected head, they can inaugurate multiple assemblies. When Rajiv Gandhi, Indira Gandhi can inaugurate multiple old parliament building, annexi and a library. Today, when Prime Minister Modi under his leadership, the new parliament has come up, why he shouldn't inaugurate? It's a matter of pride for India.
Okay.
And it's not a matter of pride for them.
Okay, you're saying it's a matter of pride. You're saying it's a matter of pride for India. Rohan Gupta, respond to the charge which is made is that the real problem is parties like the Congress have never accepted Mr. Modi's prime ministership. So the moment it is Mr. Modi who's helming this entire issue, then whether it was the stone laying ceremony or now the inauguration of the building, opposition says we will not be seen in the same photograph with Mr. Modi. Is this about ego or is this about propriety?
See, Rajdeep, I think BJP has not learned their lesson from Karnataka. Victim card is over now. Talking for the rights of the first citizen of the country is not talking against the Prime Minister's pride. Talking for the rights of the democracy is not talking against the pride of Mr. Modi. We need to understand that, Rajdeep, we forget about the politics. What are we talking about? We are talking about inviting the first citizen of the country to the inauguration of new parliament building. Do you feel that this debate is required? This is the arrogance of BJP, Rajdeep. Wherever they have faltered or they have made mistakes, they have never accepted it. They came aggressively in all the mistakes. Whether it is note ban, whether it is China issue, whether it is 3 black laws, what they have done? They have become more aggressive, tried to defend their wrong decisions, and at the end of the day, this is the same thing which is happening. This is a blunder committed by Mr. Modi and his government, but now they are not in situation to take that decision. It is very difficult for them.
Mr. Rohan Gupta, whether it's the Chhattisgarh Assembly building or a Manipur Assembly building, Ms. Sonia Gandhi has been involved in that. The governor was not the one who actually inaugurated it. The BJP is saying the Parliament Annex building was inaugurated by Mrs. Gandhi. A Parliament Library stone laying ceremony was done by Rajiv Gandhi. Why only now do you have a problem with Mr. Modi, particularly as the opposition parties had opposed Draupadi Murmu's presidential candidature?
Absolutely. See, once the president has become president, she is not candidate of any party. We are talking about the post of president, Rajdeep. So once you have fought the elections and she has won, she is president of all of us. Prime Minister Modi is our prime minister. We are not contesting against the constitutional post. We have right to defend the right of our first citizens, and that's what we are doing. Why it is so difficult for Mr. Modi and BJP to invite her? If Mr. Modi wants to inaugurate, let him inaugurate. We have no issues. Let our president be there. We will all join. So we are here. It's not about politics, Rajdeep. It is about protecting the right of our democracy. That is what BJP has done in last 9 years. All the occasions they have.
No, so when it happens, when Mrs. Indira Gandhi inaugurated the Parliament Library, did you ask the then president to be there? You see, the problem is the Congress will have to be consistent.
There is a basic difference between inaugurating annex and inaugurating the whole new building. There is a basic difference. I will give 10 such examples. The foundation laying stone was done by President Mr. V.V. Giri. The annexing, the original annexing stone, foundation stone was also done by President. So let's not count on that. What we are talking today is about current situation. How can you compare the older scenario and justify your wrong decision? I think they are caught. And sometimes, Rajdeep, it is good for BJP to accept the mistake and humbly invite the President. We just want that. We don't want politics over this issue. The whole country, Rajdeep, is watching this debate. And let me tell you, because I am also the spokesperson of Congress Party for so many years, I see this debate originating from the people of the country. This has evolved as a debate of the country because people are not ready to digest why it is so difficult for BJP to invite the first citizen of the country to the biggest festival of democracy. I fail to understand, Rajdeep, why arrogance of BJP is bigger than our democracy.
Okay, you're saying it's a sign of arrogance. The BJP in turn is saying it's the sign of the frustration of the opposition. Rahul Srivastava, where does the truth lie? Arrogance of the government or frustration and desperation of the opposition?
Both, Rajdeep. See, Rajdeep, this debate has been going on now for a few days. This is not a question about the letter of the Constitution. I think the forefathers who wrote the Constitution never realized that politics will stoop to a level like this, that they have to decide and write down, they should have written down who should be cutting the ribbon where. I think this is a matter of the spirit of the Constitution. Now, let's go to the basics. And please allow me time, Rajdeep, because all the spokespersons get a lot of time and they make a good argument, and eventually we feel left out. Article 79 of the Constitution says there shall be a parliament with 2 houses. So the president is the inherent part of parliament as per Article 79. Now, Article 53(1) says that the executive powers of the union are vested in the president. So the president of India is the head of the executive and is the constituent of parliament. So technically, he should be there or she should be there. Now, why is a debate which I don't know why we are having it, because it's so clear what is being done. Rajdeep, every leader wants to leave a legacy. The King of England wanted to do it. So his message was read out by Lord Irwin on the 18th of, I think on the 18th of January 2027. I may be wrong about the date. The year is right. So why did they do it? Because they wanted to leave their legacy behind. Why does Mayawati build buildings? Why does Akhilesh Yadav's father build the Lohia Path? It's done to leave a legacy. Prime Minister Modi, RSS, BJP and the entire Parivar wants to leave a legacy, boss, that there is a new parliament building. We want to be part of it. Now, the order of precedence is very clear, Rajdeep. President of India is the top shot, Vice President number 2, Prime Minister number 3, Speaker 6. So Speaker doesn't figure really. Now, invites have not been sent out because if the President and Vice President was available, then it had to be inaugurated by the President of India. Why was this norm broken? Parliament NXC or anything is not different, Rajdeep. The President was avoided in the past and being done 1947. The first picture is released, unveiled in Parliament Central Hall by Rajendra Prasad. But the next one is by Jawaharlal Nehru. Out of 25, 20 are done by the presidents. Rest of them by Narasimha Rao, Manmohan Singh, and by Jawaharlal Nehru. Why were the precedents broken in the past? And if you cannot say they were wrong, Derek O'Brien said something very interesting. The PM has not attended the House. He has not answered questions. Rajdeep, Indira Gandhi inaugurated in 1975 the Parliament House NXC building 4 months after emergency was imposed. So there are 2 wrongs happening here, not 1.
Okay. Rahul Srivastava giving it to us in a nutshell. Therefore, Ajay Alok, I come back to it. Let's assume for a moment that the opposition also is being churlish in their boycott, that they could easily accept the idea that the Prime Minister, as the leader of the House, is inaugurating the Parliament building. But the arrogance of the government, that you don't think it's necessary to reach out to the opposition, you don't have all-party meeting debates, the Prime Minister rarely attends Parliament. Let's be very clear, he's there to inaugurate Parliament with this photo op. He rarely attends Parliament. He's not answered a single question in question hour. His only meaningful debate he's been part of was the motion of thanks, President's address. So therefore, if the Prime Minister wants to inaugurate Parliament, good luck to him. But then he should start attending Parliament also more regularly. He should be part of Parliament more regularly also. He should be doing debates.
I don't think Prime Minister of this country now or even in the past ever requires to take suggestion when to attend Parliament, when not to attend Parliament. Because as far as Prime Minister Modi goes, whenever the Parliament is in session,
with due regard, Dr. Ajay Alok, with due regard, Jawaharlal Nehru would attend Parliament every day. He would sit during question hour as well. Mr. Modi does not sit during question hour. Mr. Modi does not participate in debates. Mr. Modi does not get involved in the proceedings of Parliament. He has every right to inaugurate it possibly if he wants to. But then he must get involved with Parliament as well.
Well, that's what I'm telling you. The Prime Minister Narendra Modi does not need advice from Mr. Rajdeep Sardesai when to attend Parliament, when to be a part of discussion and not to be a part of discussion. But he's there in the Parliament when the session goes on. And he's every day he's there. And he has a careful eye on everything, monitoring everything. And who speaks what, he knows that too very well. So I think it's better not to advise, because that shows the arrogance. What your arrogance you are pointing at us, that shows your arrogance that you want to decide how this government function, how Prime Minister function, and how we should call an all-party
I am a
meeting.
citizen of this country.
You are opposition, and no one to guide us how this system works.
Okay.
We have been elected by the people. We have been chosen by the people to do to govern the country and govern the country to its policies.
You know, Rohan,
as far as the Parliament House goes, this is the largest democracy, and this is the symbol of democracy. And in this largest democracy, the person who is chosen as a democratic leader, not once but twice, he has all the rights. And let me tell you again, this Parliament House comes under the purview of Lok Sabha Speaker, and the invites have gone from the Lok Sabha Speaker, not from the Prime Minister. And Lok Sabha Speaker and the Lok Sabha Secretariat is inaugurating this. So let's not mix up the issue.
but Rahul, no, 1 minute. Rahul Srivastava, sir, 1 minute. There is a constitutional order. Just a minute.
It's their birthright on this country to inaugurate everything and to have everything under them.
Rahul Srivastava has made a good point. There were wrongs committed in the 70s. There are wrongs committed today. Therefore, Rohan Gupta, because the precedence is the propriety is very clear. The president is the head of the state. In an ideal world, she should have been inaugurating it, but we are in a less than ideal world. The fact is the opposition itself also, or a large section of it. Many of your leaders, Rahul Gandhi's attendance also very poor, much lower than what the average MPs is. About 53% is his attendance. If you are really serious about preserving parliamentary democracy, it's not just about the inauguration. It's also about your role in ensuring that Parliament becomes more robust. Is the opposition committing itself today to also keeping the Parliament ethics and ethos in mind, rather than just making a prestige issue of what will happen on Sunday?
Absolutely not, Rajdeep. I think, first of all, Mr. Ajay Alok is also influenced by their other spokesperson like Mr. Malviya, rather than accepting the issues, attacking the journalist. I think this is not going to work anymore. You need to answer the questions when you come in debate rather than accusing the debater. See, Rajdeep, the important point here is I have the dates with the chronological order. Mr. Modi inaugurated, he laid down the foundation stone of Parliament House Annex also, and he inaugurated also. He again laid down the foundation stone of the new Parliament House. He inaugurated also. In the past, I have 10 such examples. The Parliament Annex building, which was inaugurated by Mr. Rajiv Gandhi, the foundation stone was laid by then. The foundation stone was laid by the president. So my point here is not that we have opposed Mr. Modi when he inaugurated the Parliament building extension or he laid the foundation stone of the new building. We never opposed it. But at the end of the day, you completely ignore the president. That is not what is accepted today. And today she is in town. She is in the country. How can you avoid the first citizen of the country when the biggest festival of democracy is there? My simple question is that if Mr. Modi wants to inaugurate, he has that fantasy of inaugurating ribbon cutting. We are not against that. Please call president. Please invite the president.
Okay.
Rajdeep,
Rohan Gupta, you made the point.
Yeah.
Okay, Rohan Gupta, you made the point. Let's leave it there, because clearly this is a polarizing issue. We don't seem to find a middle ground. Rahul Srivastava, 30 seconds. Is there a middle ground? Can this issue be resolved by Sunday? Or do you see no opportunity for the opposition and government to come together on these issues any longer?
No, Rajdeep. Basically, they are agreeing to disagree. That is the tone and the relationship they are trying to set. That's what the politics outside is, bitterly polarized. That's what will happen to Parliament. In 1927, Lord Irwin read out a message of the King, and the King had said that the Parliament building will guide India to fashion a future well. I hope this one does. My only grouse is I don't know whether there will be a central hall in which I will be allowed an entry like the past.
In fact, that is my grouse. That the fact is you have a new Parliament building without even a central hall, where earlier journalists would be allowed to meet members of Parliament and ministers. You want to keep the media out and yet you claim you want to boost parliamentary democracy. Is that the way you enhance parliamentary democracy, by preventing journalists to interact with politicians? Think about it. That was our special debate. Thank you very much to my guests for joining me. Let's turn from there to Manipur, where violence continues to simmer, or the state continues to simmer, a day after violence erupted once again in Manipur earlier this week. While the authorities are blaming militants for the violence, citizens are taking to the street against the government's failure to restore peace. Now we are told that Home Minister Amit Shah will be visiting Manipur soon. Take a look.
Manipur is simmering. The state that recently saw clashes between Meitei and Kuki communities that killed over 70 people is on the edge again. Fresh violence erupted on Wednesday in Bishnupur district in an area bordering Charchandpur district. One person was killed.
Forces went there and tried to control the situation. While doing this, at about 9:30 a.m., two persons received bullet injury at Thamna Pokpi foothills under Moirang PS, which was being fired from the side of the hills. Immediately, forces retaliated. One of the injured person, namely Toijam Chandramani Singh of Churachandpur, succumbed to his injuries while being taken to the hospital.
The authorities are blaming militants holed out in the hills for the violence. Angry citizens came out on roads to protest the government's failure to check killings.
उनकी कार्रवाई से हम संतुष्ट नहीं, इसलिए जहां से हमारा जगह से जितना भी सेंट्रल आर्मी है उसको हटा दीजिए, जो कि हम संतुष्ट से अब अपना, जो हमारे पास कोई हथियार भी नहीं, कुछ भी नहीं, फिर भी हम लड़ने के लिए तैयार है.
Union Home Minister Amit Shah, who was in Assam on Thursday, has called for dialogue.
हमारा काम शांति बनाए रखना है. आप व्यवस्था पर विश्वास करिए. दोनों ग्रुपों के लोग पहले शांति बनाने का निर्णय करें. मैं आपको केंद्र की सरकार से और से विश्वास दिलाना चाहूंगा, सबके साथ न्याय होगा.
There is heavy security presence in capital Impal and other towns. Curfew has been imposed in Bishnupur district. Bureau Report, India Today.
From Manipur, let's turn to another troubling story and a special focus tonight, because a deadly shadow now hangs over the country's Project Cheetah. 2 more cheetah cubs died today in Kuno National Park, allegedly due to severe dehydration from heat wave conditions that are prevailing in Madhya Pradesh. As per park officials, while 3 newly born cheetahs have died, the 4th is under observation. The latest fatality brings the death toll of cheetahs in Kuno to 6 in just the last 2 months, including 3 adult cheetahs relocated from African nations. Kuno National Park at the moment is left now with only 1 cub cheetah. And joining me now is author and wildlife expert, someone who spent a lifetime documenting the big cats in the country and globally. Valmik Thapar joins me. Appreciate your joining us, Valmik Thapar. You have been among the few skeptics when these cheetahs were being brought from the African wilds to India. Now with 2 more cheetah cubs dying today in Kuno due to sweltering heat and weakness, 6 have died since March. Are you going to tell our viewers today, I told you so? Do you believe your worst fears are coming true?
You know, Rajdeep, I basically love cheetahs. After the tiger, I'm in love with the cheetah. So I've seen over 400 wild cheetahs in Africa. Before the first cheetah came, I did very vocally and very firmly suggest that this was an ill-advised, multi-million-dollar project which would have huge problems because India is not the natural habitat of the cheetah. India does not have the terrain the cheetah needs, the food it needs, and also the cheetah will not be able to deal with a hot Indian summer, wherein the sun temperatures in Kuno can go up to 50 degrees centigrade. And we have tried to reintroduce this animal in India because for 300 years, and mark my words, I have the biggest collection of books here and all the records. For 300 years, we've hardly had any wild cheetahs in this country. A handful, which was shot, the last few, and some by the British. And I believe they were hunting pets of the super elite in India. And the ones that got shot went feral. They ran away from their leash while hunting blackbuck. So I'm not a proponent that India was a country full of cheetahs. It didn't have it. The hunting records don't show it. The books don't show it. The descriptions don't show it. So it was an ill-advised scheme. The Prime Minister was ill-advised about it. And I don't want to see another cheetah die in the sweltering heat.
But Valmik Thapar, this was a project long in the making. You will recall that when the UPA government was in power, Jairam Ramesh, then Environment Minister, had kicked off this project. It was taken forward by the Modi government. Are you saying all the scientists, all the experts who were part of this project had got it horribly wrong? Or is there something wrong in the way it's being implemented at the moment?
You do know that before Jairam triggered the project was rejected by the Honorable Supreme Court. It restarted all over again. And there are lots of scientists against the project. Dr. Ullas Karanth, Dr. Ravi Chelam, and now a whole line of them in South Africa who are writing papers saying, what is this all about? If Kuno is a stony surface, uneven land, dry riverbeds where the cheetah can't escape, can't find suitable habitats, that it has to travel to the border of Jhansi, then brought back to the enclosure, redarted, more chemicals inside. What is this multi-million-dollar project going to prove? We have lovely wildlife. We are rich with wildlife. Why are we got obsessed with using the cheetah, which over the last 300 years, there were very few of? So hold the architects of this project in government and outside answerable. They have to be answerable for why they...
No, but I take your point about some level of accountability for if there are elements that are going wrong in the project. But given the fact that perhaps we can't now turn the clock back, is there a solution? There are those who are suggesting rather than all the cheetahs in one sanctuary, spread them across, move them to other sanctuaries. The Supreme Court also reportedly is considering this. Is this an option, you think?
I think there should be a proper survey across India where you can have safe, large enclosures to deal with the Indian summer and the raging monsoon that follows. And then rethink your plan to do with the cheetahs. At the moment, keep them safe, keep them alive. I think this is really important because we've seen the problems they're facing. Earlier on, it was said that hot temperatures don't matter, that cheetahs are used to hot temperatures. Now 2 cubs have died. Everyone says it was a sweltering day in Kuno Palput. Hot Indian summers in Rajasthan, everybody knows the temperatures climb to 50 degrees. Madhya Pradesh, Kuno is 60 kilometers as a crow flies from Ranthambore. It's going to be really hot. So what are you going to do? Where are you going to, how are you going to feed them? Where are they running to? Why are they running away from Kuno?
So in a way, what you're suggesting, you're saying have a thorough review of the project, put in place a thorough survey. Don't stand on prestige or ego. This cannot become a vanity project. Am I correct?
Yes, and no ad hoc decisions. We have to be proud of a project where the animals survive, whether the ecology is right, where the terrain is right, and the prey and the food. We don't want cheetahs not to have their escape from leopards by having wide open spaces. We want cheetahs in areas in India, if those areas exist. If they don't exist, the project should be withdrawn and we should have cheetahs in large captive enclosures and drive in and look at them. I'm sorry, enough is enough. We need a round table on this, and we need the architects of this scheme to point out how many hundreds of cheetahs India had at a moment of time. Where is that evidence? Why is everyone obsessed introducing the African cheetah into India? Surely there are other species from one end of India to the other which require the money, which require the protection. Why have we got grounded on cheetah reintroduction? I don't understand it. Somebody should tell me.
I take your point. What you're saying very loudly and clearly is you're calling for some kind of a scientific review and survey of the Cheetah project, and maybe that's really what the government needs to do rather than stand on prestige or ego and make this now a vanity project that is irreversible. Rajdeep Thapar, as always, speaking. Yeah, just go ahead very quickly.
Scientific survey should have scientists who are also critical, not those who are supporting the project. Then you have an evolved opinion. Otherwise, you can't evolve opinion by having everyone on the same side. We all know this. We learnt it in kindergarten. The government should know this.
Okay. Rajdeep Thapar for joining me. Thank you very much.
Welcome, Rajdeep.
Let's turn from there to our Get Real India series, which this month is focusing, or this week is focusing on water scarcity. Today we are turning to villages near Bundelkhand, villages near Mahoba specifically, that are dependent on water tankers. Tonight we bring you a report from one such village. This is a drought-prone area which gets worse every year. Take a look.
The long wait for water. These scenes are common in villages and towns in Bundelkhand region. Most are dependent on water tankers like Kabrai village near Mahoba city in Uttar Pradesh. When the tanker reaches, the villagers go into a frenzy.
पानी क्या दिक्कत है, मिलता नहीं है। वो 2-4-6 दिन में एक टैंकर आया तो क्या होता है, 1-2 ड्रम मिलता है तो क्या होता है। आजकल गर्मी इतनी है, लगता ही पानी की जरूरत है ही है। कम से कम 10-15 सालें हो गई यहाँ पानी आ ही नहीं रहा बिल्कुल। 8-10 साल से टैंकर चल रहा है।
The region that is home to 40,000 people gets 4 tankers, say villagers. Clearly a big mismatch.
पानी 2 दिन 3 दिन में एक बार आता है, बस टैंकर ही जरिया। बाकी यहाँ पाइपलाइन पड़ी है, 4 साल से कोई पानी नहीं आता इस मोहल्ले में।
ये 15 ड्राम पानी आता है, इसके बाद 5 मिनट में खत्म होता है।
At times, the situation gets so worse, people end up fighting over a drum of water.
यहाँ पे पानी आता नहीं है और पानी की कई बार लड़ाई हो चुकी है, थाने में रिपोर्टर पार्टी हो चुकी है, एक दूसरे को मार कुट्टी हो चुकी है।
Villagers say they are hoping the Narendra Modi government's Har Ghar Jan Yojana that aims to supply tap water to every household works for them. Bureau Report, India Today.
Let's take a break at this point. When we return, we'll turn to our Good News Today story and we'll tell you a UPSC success story that stands out. You're watching the news today. News without the noise.
Where the software engineer meets the cool UI UX designer, meets the gifted content writer. To create the big dream, the world comes together at Sardesai University. So where are you?
Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. Amplify your brand with 100 million smart internet viewers. To advertise, mail us at sales@aajtak.com.
Where the software engineer meets the smart market analyst, meets the talented photographer. To create the big dream, the world comes together at Sardesai University. So where are you?
this happen? Let me tell you the science behind it.
For more informative videos like this, keep watching India Today News Mode.
Okay, let's turn to tonight's Good News Today story. Results of one of India's toughest exams were out earlier this week. We bring you today the most inspirational success stories from this year's UPSC results. Akhila, who lost her right arm when she was just 5 years old, ranked 760 in the UPSC. Suraj Tiwari, who lost both his legs and an arm, also cleared the UPSC exam. We salute them in this special report.
Suraj Tiwari from Mainpuri and Akhila from Thiruvananthapuram have two things in common. They both suffered life-altering accidents and they both cleared UPSC exams. Suraj lost his right arm and two legs in train accident in 2017. Down in the dumps, he met someone who turned his life around while undergoing treatment at AIIMS.
वो मुझे जेएनयू लेके आए, उन्होंने मुझे जेएनयू के बारे में काफ़ी बताया, मुझे एंट्रेंस देने के लिए काफ़ी प्रेरित किया। 3 महीने मैंने मेहनत की और दिसंबर के महीने में मैंने एंट्रेंस दिया, जनवरी में रिजल्ट आया और मेरा जेएनयू में रशियन लैंग्वेज में सिलेक्शन हो गया।
Suraj pursued studies with New Zealand and won research fellowship in Russian language and went on to clear UPSC exams, making his parents proud.
अब मेरे मन में कोई चिंता की बात नहीं है। मुझे लगता है कि हाँ, आज मैंने कुछ तो कर लिया है, अपने माँ बाप के लिए किया है, अपने देश के लिए किया है, आज मैंने कुछ तो कर लिया है।
Akhila lost her right arm in a tragic bus accident when she was just 5 years old. From the Indian Army's Artificial Limb Center in Pune to a hospital in the US, she knocked on many doors to get an artificial arm fixed. When she was told it wasn't possible, Akhila did not lose heart. Akhila cleared class 12 with the highest marks, studied at IIT Madras and now cleared the UPSC with a rank of 760.
That accident happened while I was 5 years old, so I have been used with my left hand, and since then it became normal. Only thing is, because of this issue, I have a body imbalance thing, so which makes it very difficult for me to sit and write a 3 hours exam on a continuous basis. That makes it a little difficult. I'll get all the body ache.
She gives credit for her success to her father K. Buhari, a former headmaster, and mother Sajina Bivi. While her family is celebrating her success, Akhila is preparing for the prelims exam on the coming Sunday to improve her rank. Faced with extreme adversities, Suraj and Akhila worked with the cards life dealt them and came up winners.
There are millions of sun hiding behind the dark clouds, and I'm giving them hope to come out and shine in this bright sky.
With Anamika Gaur in Delhi and Shibimol KG in Thiruvananthapuram, Bureau Report, India Today.
I want to leave you though tonight with an image that will resonate with many in my generation in particular. Tina Turner was one of the biggest and highest selling American pop sensations. Her songs, particularly through the 1980s, always were chart busters. We will remember her for her music and remember her for what she contributed to music. The queen of rock and roll rose to fame in the 60s and smashed records as a solo artist, winning 8 Grammys and much more. Thanks for watching. Bye for now. What's love got to do with it? Good night. Goodbye.
What's love got to do with it? What's love but a second-hand emotion? What's love got to do with it? Who needs a heart when a heart can be broken? It may seem to you that I'm acting
forecast now. Delhi, maximum 38 and minimum 22 degrees. Mumbai, maximum 33 and minimum 28 degrees. Kolkata, maximum 39 and minimum 24 degrees. Bangalore, maximum 32 and minimum 23 degrees. Chennai, maximum 36 and minimum 29 degrees. Hyderabad, maximum 39 and minimum 28 degrees.
Why does this happen? Let me tell you the science behind it.
For more informative videos like this, keep watching India Today News Mo.